Good morning, traders. This is Wilkey with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:47 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, August 6, 2020. So let's get the news out of the way real quick, and I will just let you see that, except for the year-to-date, on all of the indices on the smaller time frames out to the 60-day, we are bullish, meaning they are up, trending up on all those time frames. And if we look at the year to date down here, we got the Nasdaq, of course, has been positive, so why wouldn't it be? The S&P's at 3% positive for the year, and then just the Dow and the Russell are negative now year to date for 2020. So, as bullish as we can be, normally when we see this happen, we're a little bit due for a pullback. We'll see what happens, because this is almost like a, everyone's too long kind of a thing. But so be cautiously bullish, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and don't mess around with your stop positions down lower, because we could get, not that it's a lot, but for us day traders it is, we could definitely get you know, a 3 week take back that wouldn't drop it that many points necessarily, but enough to shake out some longs, because we've been consolidating up here going nowhere. We are in that gap, which is good, that we'll get a more to in a minute. So we had Bank of England this morning at 7 and 7:30. I have no idea what it said, but the event is over, and that's all I'm concerned with. So whatever the thoughts were on that, they're into the charts and going into the charts now. Uh, Tomorrow will be, of course, the bigger news for the U.S. non-farm payroll tomorrow morning. So we should get a little bit of volatility and some movement tomorrow that'll trend, basically should trend for at least the first 3 hours from 8:30 all the way up to 11:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow should be trending. And I usually like to wait from 8:30, unless you already have a great setup that you're looking at for some positioning. If you don't have an entry, I like to look at the trades that go off between 8:30 and 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then look at that as almost like a mini value area or a range. And then I like to watch for the break above or below that zone as a go with attempt. So that's my little strategy for that. So looking back at yesterday's action, on the daily time frame, the top grids, right, bullish, but once again, the Russell went up above the rest, and the other three just basically, excuse me, you know, had that pop overnight and flatlined all day in a very narrow consolidations. And if you look at the Nasdaq, it was completely imbalanced from the overnight action all session. The ES bonds on the upper end of value, the Dow and the Russell both, the laggards, right? Because they're the ones that are negative still for the year, right? The last 2 days they've been saying, hey, maybe there's something to these indexes. We should put some money into them. So they're catching up. The Dow finally made it over that upper distribution 2 days ago. That it's making its way in the upper end of the charts. It's about to hit that 27,100 resistance. I'll have to look and see in a minute if it passed that. So, you know, the it's not telling you to do anything. So looking at today, see how narrow, because of our yesterday's trading range, how narrow these level fours are. So in the overnight session, we have 28 and 3/4 points, but our level fours are 32.92 up to 33.40. So don't really look for us at any instance to trade out of this range with any conviction today, is my pro tip to you guys for the day. So looking at all the indexes, as we look and see what's going on, we can see we've traded, I like to show yesterday's lows, down into value on the Russell, back up above yesterday's high. Same thing, we cleared yesterday's low for the Nasdaq, the ES. Notice the Dow went below value area low, right, but it did not take out yesterday's low, which is this green dashed line. And you can see that the S&P 500 is right at the POC. It's still below value area high. The high zone for the daily is value area high is 33.20 half. That is no, there is no zone. It is a line for both my calculations right there for value area, and that was for value area high. For value area low, it's a little bit. It goes around from 16 to 16 quarters. So very small value area. So after the bell rings, try to, it can definitely whip back and forth through this whole range more than once. So watch the opening print, see if we get whipsawed around it or see if we trend and bounce higher. But don't expect too much out of the market. If you notice the last couple of days, right, we've been kind of balancing around the overnight value area that I send out to you guys right after the bell rings in the morning. That's more than likely going to be a similar case today with we're waiting on big news tomorrow, right? The big news is non-farm payroll. So don't expect this thing to really pop out of these zones, these little tight zones. As we could make our way up to 33.40, which would be, a 12-point run basically above this overnight high. And then the extreme would be, another 6.5 points. So I mean, we could trade literally from the bottom of this to the top of this and do it even more than once today, and it wouldn't be no big deal. So just pay attention with whatever you're doing. Have your targets and your stops on the server, honor them. It could just be a choppy crap show today on the market and not trend in any direction at all. Looking at the Russell, we'll start with. This is the zone I would like to have seen it pull back after it broke through. You can see once it made it above 1525.80, it has not looked back. You can see, I'll zoom in over here. Looking at yesterday's low, or I'm sorry, yesterday's high, was the response that it pulled back to. I'm not going to put a line there, but right around that 1534.40 is where it went to. And then, so just very bullish action, right? It can't even get back into yesterday's range with any conviction. Had a harsh turnaround. All these, bears thought they had these bulls up here trapped. And we'll see if we can get back up above these ranges. So breaking above here is definitely going to be more bullish. Remember, the last 2 days, we have been putting money into the Russell and the Dow. Is where the money's been going. So with that said, let's look at the Dow. We are flirting with trying to get above this 27,100 and doing so with a little bit of conviction. So that's still going to be a key level for me. Looking above there, right, I really don't have any serious resistance until you get up to 27,462. So basically another 362 points is what I have, and we could literally chop in this area for days and maybe test this range sometime tomorrow depending on the response to non-farm payroll. And then below, really 26,822 would my guess be as low as we could get on, if something really turns bad. I would definitely buy with both hands down at 26,758, but I don't really see that happening today. So looking at the indexes and, just giving those thoughts, try to go with, try to look at this yesterday's range pretty much, unless you've got some other technical setups. Look at that as a chop zone, right? So getting above or below yesterday's range, because they were so small for everything except for the Russell, should be a little bit more telling and trendy, right? So right now we were above that zone, we come back down it. So this could be, between value area high and yesterday's high, it could be, the top end of the range, and we could start testing some of these lower levels until you break the overnight high. Watch for a break of the overnight high and then retracement back under it, and then we'll probably just stop right around yesterday's high. So just be nimble, be honor your stops and your targets, and don't go for anything unless you have at least a 2.5 to 1 risk to reward ratio, right? And you have that set up pre-planned before it trades. Don't even mess with it. And to be honest with you, today could be just a day that if you've got a honey-do list, it might be a day that you should just go do that. It's going to be, I think, a little bit more of a difficult, a shot one way, the other way. I think the Bears and the Bulls can both, have their entries and their targets hit today. On the micro draws, I wouldn't even look for any, you know, longer term draws and micro draws today that are going to do anything good for you. You can watch those levels, see if anything goes on, but I'm not looking for any trend to start today. I hope this helps. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.